statement. Didn't Reuben feel that after he shot the judge that they'd forget what he's in jail for and put him in jail for that and take care of that? And my statement is, I always loved your hair. Your haircut is beautiful.
Thank you. Reuben, did you not realize that if you shot somebody that you would really go to jail?
No, I didn't believe that. I believe I'd be shot by the deputies just in cold-bloodedness, but I didn't believe I'd go to jail for self-defense. It took me, that thought never even crossed my mind.
So you hadn't thought it through, okay.
Well, I'd thought it through, but I thought we all had the right to defend ourselves. I didn't find out until afterwards that the legislature had enacted a statute which says that you have no right to self-defense against a public servant.
Where you got the gun?
I've owned it since 1975, I believe.
Is it licensed?
Well, there's no licensing requirements.
No licensing requirements in North Dakota, is that correct, Judge?
To carry a concealed weapon there is, but just to possess a firearm, no, there's
no. Okay.
Sally, just wanted to ask, how did the gun ever get into the courtroom?
How did Mr. Larson get in the courtroom?
No, the gun.
Ever get into the courtroom?
He carried it in his satchel under his arm. We had no metal detector devices, no security in the courthouse at all.
Does anyone, well, we'll ask later. I was going to say, does anyone know how many states do have metal detectors?
Hi, Sally. For Margaret, you said you always felt that your husband was capable of doing this. How long did you know him before you actually got married?
18 months.
And you knew him 18 months, and you lived with him 10 years before the divorce?
Right. And you never saw a sign of that behavior?
In that 18 months, no. In fact, it was about within the 3 years of the marriage.
Yes, sir?
Yes, my question's for the judge. How was he allowed to get out of the courtroom after the shots were fired? And to the wife,
Let's ask first, how did he walk out?
Well, he did in fact walk out, and he walked down 3 flights of stairs and walked out to his car and drove away. No security is the answer.
Question to the wife, what's the feelings with the children about all this?
My son is upset. He says his dad embarrassed him.
Let me ask the judge. Aren't there court guards or security people in domestic court, or is that only in criminal courts where you have...
Basically in criminal courts.
You would only have that kind of person in a criminal court. Okay.
I would like to know, the guy in jail, have you sought counseling since this happened?
Reuben?
Yes?
Have you had any counseling in jail since this happened?
Well, first of all, that's a loaded question. That's like asking when's the last time you beat your wife. No matter how you answer it, you come out wrong. Just to kind of illustrate here, if I can make a point here, on April 8th, 1991, in a hearing prior to that, in a prior court hearing, Judge Jenke had asked me to file a motion. He had released me from court. And so I filed a motion in my case to dismiss the child support by David Broughton, the lawsuit by David Broughton, who's a man who did not, you know, I want to make that clear, that it has nothing to do with the divorce case, even though everybody tries to.
Reuben, you're talking to people who live in other states and who are not terribly knowledgeable about that.
Okay.
Yeah, you think he needs help?
Okay.
I believe you need some serious counseling, because what you're saying is making all of us look like this guy is crazy.
Well, your wife had urged you to get some.
Yeah, but you don't know the background of why she's doing that.
Why is she doing that?
I would like to know that question myself. She was in counseling before we even met, you know.
That's right, I was.
Okay, but getting back to what happened in the courtroom, on April 8th, when I filed that motion, Judge Jenke took my motion to dismiss the lawsuit by David Broughton, the child support lawsuit, and says I'm going to move it over to the divorce lawsuit file. In other words...
I see. He put a support case where you felt it didn't belong.
He just took my motion and just moved it over to another file, you see, just like it did.
Was that correct to do? Let me ask the lawyer.
Yes, that was correct. We had to put the two together to find out where this child support obligation came from.
I have a question for Reuben. I mean, you walked in with a .357 Magnum looking at, like, you know, that's not like a BB gun. You're looking to kill someone when you walk in a courtroom with it.
That's the
and you think you're going to just get away with this? I mean, how many years are you doing? I mean, you should be getting like a life sentence or something like that, because you're looking to kill someone, a judge, and that's not right. And you're looking to kill somebody else. If you're carrying a .357 into a courtroom and you think you're going to get away with it, it's just not going to work like that.
Well, I guess.
And if it does, it's sad.
The issue is, did I have the right to defend myself or not? That's the question. Obviously, you don't know all
you didn't. That wasn't self-defense at all. You defend yourself in a courtroom, not with a gun. Be a man about it.
us now is Dr. Martin Blinder. He is a court forensic psychiatrist at the University of California in San Francisco. He says you can almost predict which male will go over the edge in court. How?
Well, first of all, the system is demeaning and frustrating to anyone. I think it would be stressful to a normal male. But there are three particular kinds of men that are not normal and who react to the stress of divorce litigation and child custody litigation in a uniquely lethal way. The first are individuals who've become almost suicidally depressed by what has happened to them. They go into court with the intention of committing self-murder, but there's so much lethality inside them that they may spray bullets in other directions as well.
Okay, so someone who is, these are the people who can cause the problem. Somebody terribly depressed,
Yes.
who may say, well, I don't need to live, and maybe I'll take some other people with me.
That's right. And I think we heard a little thread of suicidality in Rubin, who obviously was prepared to die. Homicide and suicide are just a millimeter apart on the surface of the psyche.
Okay, next.
The second group are individuals who are self-centered and controlling and domineering. They tend to be jealous, possessive.
My wife.
You know, certainly this is not necessarily gender specific, but it's the men who do the shooting. So,
well, let me ask, is it the men who do the shooting? Don't we have, in all fairness, aren't there courts where women walk in and open fire and kill judges and other lawyers and people?
it happens almost never.
Almost never?
Almost never. So
okay.
The second group then are these men who are domineering. They tend to be abusive, jealous husbands. They view their wife and kids less as people than as property. But like a lot of bullies, inside they're really very fragile.
Well,
Their
Margaret,
self-esteem is nil.
If men and women were treated equally in the courts, you would see more women doing exactly what Rubin did.
Okay.
And that's
Number three to our
Number
psychiatrists?
three are individuals who are very dependent upon their spouses. They have difficulty in distinguishing where they end and their spouse begins. They almost fuse with them, and the loss of their spouse and their kids is felt as if they're getting a piece of themselves ripped off. It's almost a personal death. And they, too, feeling impotent and helpless, may seek power with a gun. I have to say there's another factor that's just as important and why we see all these shootings in the last 20 years, and that's the shameless availability of firearms in this country. You know, due to the NRA giving you the sense that everybody should own a gun. I think the NRA has probably killed more women in this country than breast cancer.
Joining us now is Glenn Rydell. He's president of the New York State Supreme Court Officers Association. Sir, are these family courts dangerous, and why?
Absolutely. It's a very difficult environment to work in. And you're dealing with people that are coming in a very stressful situation, child custody, child support, divorces. They may be coming out of a domestic violent where they live, and that could spill over into the court system. What is needed is beefed up security at the entrances to these facilities. If you don't have metal detectors in place at a facility, the proper manpower to do it, you couple that with maybe a poor policy structure from management, you're going to have this violence take place.
Let me ask our judge. Judge Lawrence, after you were shot, did they put metal detectors in your courtroom?
Well, we're looking on a year now, this next May, and hopefully by then we will have. But in answer to your question, no.
Are you afraid?
I'm not afraid. I'm a little irritated at the bureaucracy that's become involved in.
But you're not frightened when
No.
you have these domestic
No.
cases? Yes, sir.
Several comments here. To start with, Judge Lawrence, Scott Greenwood, that is sitting next to you, had plenty of hearing time in court. What we have in the family court system across this country is organized crime. The only difference that we have between the mafia and the court system is that the organized crime in a court system is legalized.
Why? Can I ask our psychiatrist, do a lot of people feel this way, and if so, why?
Yes, I think it's because there is a defect, and that is an attempt to supply a legal remedy for what is in fact an aching, agonizing human problem. No matter how you settle child custody or divorce or alimony, there's going to be losers. There are no winners in this situation.
Psychiatrists are not even considered in the courtrooms. I had a psychiatric evaluation done on myself and my wife. I paid for it. I requested it by a court-appointed psychiatrist. I came out as, I don't have all the facts, but there's an MIP test, and I came out as normal, caring, loving father. She came out as histrionic, as if she made things up as she was going along, that I could not be what she said I was. But the judge did not consider that. And
Why?
that's what's sad.
Why would the judge not?
Because he didn't read it.
He wouldn't read it.
They've got 40-some cases a day that he's got to go through.
Now we're getting to something. The courts are terribly overcrowded.
But is that my fault? Should I be denied a relationship with my children because the judge isn't doing his job?
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Well, you say that, Scott, but I'd like to know what you think you're going to solve by becoming violent to your wife and your children.
I didn't say I was going to become violent.
You said that at the beginning of the show, that you can understand how
I
violence...
said I can understand.
And you said that you don't know what's going to become of you, that could happen.
What am I supposed to, what do I have left? Okay? I've been destroyed, okay? I don't even have my children.
So what are you going to solve by harming them or your wife?
I'm not saying I'm going to harm them, but I can understand where this man did.
He's saying he feels like he would like to do it. Let me, if I may ask, Scott, is there anybody that you have in your life that you can turn to with these feelings? Or are you all by
Sure,
yourself?
I've got family behind me. I've got a lady friend that's behind me. And I've got a group that I'm a part of, Fathers' Rights Action Committee, that are saving lives because it gives fathers a place to vent their frustrations, and we're trying to do something about it.
I'm sorry. I cannot understand how you could sit there and understand how another human being can walk into a courtroom and take a gun and shoot it at a judge. That man should be put away. He's deranged. He needs a mental case. He's a big mental case, and he needs to be in a mental institution. He should never walk in society again. And you're sitting there understanding this. There's no excuse for a human being being angry. You're dealing with a legal system. You're in a court of law. You're dealing with laws. This man has to look at the laws, and he only can make decisions.
They don't look at the laws.
Yes, they do.
They make their own rules, sir.
Then there is an appeal process, and you should look into an appeal process. But your answer is not going into a courtroom and shooting a judge
I can't even get
who
a
is
trial
trained
by jury.
legally. I'm sorry.
You should be.
I am going to answer that here. There is no law in New Jersey that stands. The judges violate the law. You have a constitutional right under 4 amendments of the Constitution that this judge probably doesn't know. The right to parenting is guaranteed under the 1st, the 5th, the 9th, and the 14th Amendment of the Constitution. Why do the system take my children away from me? They are 4 blocks down the street. It's my daughter's birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday, Chantal, when you see this show. I still love you.
You know,
and I'm not finished.
You gotta let me have the microphone.
Each case is different, and if a judge is not doing their job, then you go before the bench, and you go before an appeal process, and you kick that judge off the bench.
We've requested
You know,
impeachment.
a judge, I don't know your whole history, I don't know his whole history, and I'm not gonna judge who's right. Your wives are right, who should have custody, but you do not go in a courtroom, and you do not shoot another human being. Period.
I agree with you.
Disagree with me, you could shoot me, would that be okay?
I agree with you completely here on this point. You don't go to the courtroom and shoot a judge. This is criminal.
Excuse me, I have to take a break. We'll be right back.
Call California Closets, providing the space and organization you need to make your home seem like a bigger home.
Wayside Furniture at 115th and Greenfield specializes in quality casual and patio furniture, featuring casual furniture by Woodard, contemporary aluminum to traditional wrought iron, handcrafted with pride in America. Feel the comfort of Homecrest and experience the pleasure of affordable luxury. The fun comes home with Homecrest. Wayside Furniture has one of the largest displays of casual and patio furniture in the Midwest. Come see us at 115th and Greenfield.
I can't believe they haven't paid this man's medical bills and property damage.
Insurance companies do that all the time to force a settlement.
I spoke to a woman who signed a release for a small amount of money just to get her medical bills paid, and she still needs more treatment.
People are constantly being manipulated by the insurance company to settle their case for less than it's worth.
We've got to let people know how much we can help them. You don't have to settle your case to get medical treatment or to have your bills paid.
No matter what type of injury you've suffered, call Daniel Condos Law Offices at 444-4444. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. I know it's depressing, but I have something for you. Sybaris Pool Suites. Individual swimming pool and whirlpool cottages built especially for you. Now, how about that for a birthday present? Sybaris Pool Suites. It's not your usual cake and ice cream affair.
Call 414-242-8000 for a free brochure.
Senior year. Thought I knew it all. For tough headaches, I took Tylenol. Today I take Advil. See, Tylenol didn't always get rid of all the pain. Back then, my doctor prescribed some medicine that really helped. The same medicine I can get in non-prescription strength in Advil. For my tough headaches, 2 Advil work better than 2 Tylenol gel caps. These days, when a tough headache starts, I take what works better for me. Advil.
And for a cold, try Advil Cold and Sinus, advanced formula for the cold season.